Hello and welcome back to Precious Memory Boxes. And today we're going to do part 2 of our Woodland Wonder Journal. And the papers from this kit came from Pink Monarch Prints, their subscription kit. And this was from the April subscription kit. And today what we're going to do is add some pockets, belly bands, maybe a flip or two. We'll get all of that in there. And then I will come back for one more video and we will do some embellishing with tags and clusters and also make a journal cover, a journal topper for the front of the Woodland journal. So let's get started. So I wanted to first, I need to trim this little bit of paper here. I should have grabbed my smaller scissors from the other room, but let's see if I can do this. If not, I'll wait until I can get maybe an X-Acto knife or something and kind of trim that out of there. All right. Yeah, I'm probably going to have to get the X-Acto knife and finish trimming that out of there, so we'll do that. I'll do that off camera. All right, so I wanted to add a pocket to the front here. And I thought I could use this really pretty lace. I'm going to try to trim it up here and see if I can get it a little more even. There we go. All right. And then we'll decide. I think I'm going to try to bring it right to the edge of the green here. So I'm just going to eyeball it. All right. Now it has a little bit of discoloration there, probably a little bit of staining, but I don't mind that. I'm going to leave it. And we are going to use our art glitter glue, and I'm just going to go around all the edges here and add a fair amount of glue. If you have oh, I forgot the name of it, the fabric glue, Fabri-Tac, you might want to use that. It probably would hold up better than this, but usually once your art glitter glue or your Bearly Arts glue is dry, it holds up pretty well. All right, so let's see if I can find the front here. That's the back. There we go. And I'm going to put the little scallops down at the bottom. And then we'll have the softer edge up here at the top. I may have to come back and trim the lace just ever so slightly, but I'm going to let it dry first. All right, so I need to add, the glue on this side is good, but I need to add a little more glue down here at the bottom. Okay. Okay, all right. So we're gonna let that sit and hopefully it'll dry here mostly in the next few minutes. So I think I'm gonna leave this page blank. And I think we're gonna add maybe a flip to it. Well, let me see. Let's see if I have what we can use as a flip in all my cutout pieces. So I started cutting out all the pieces to the kit. We have an envelope here we could use as a flip. And we also have this beautiful file folder. Let's see what we can do with that. So there's a couple different things you can do. You can definitely fold it in half, which is what I was thinking about doing with it. There we go. And I want a flip that goes over the top. So I think we will use this side and we will have a flip on each side that way. I want to add a little ink to it. It doesn't matter if it's not perfectly lined on the sides because you're going to put it at the top of your page and you won't be able to see if it's a little bit off here and there. All right, so let's take our flip, and I went ahead on the inside and copied a neutral. All right, let's see if I can get this page. There we go. My writing's going to be upside down. That's usually what happens when you try to do it from the top. Let's see what it looks like from. We can do the side and it can flip open. Or we could also do the bottom and it can flip down this way. This can be a hidden journaling spot. We might do that. And then you can also just tuck different things in here. You could paper clip them if you want to bring this a little closer over to this side. You could always put a paper clip here, and then that way you could add tags or papers, whatever you want, and then you can flip this down for a hidden journaling spot. So let's do that. We're just going to glue in the crease here. Oops, getting a little sloppy there. And I'm just going to put enough so that it'll be a little bit on each side. I am going to line it up more to the right so that I can add that paper clip if I want later. All right. And we're just going to press that down. All right. So we can leave that there. When we do our embellishing part, we will add some tags, maybe some stamping or stickers here. So, but today we're just going to work on adding pockets and tucks and some belly bands. So we'll have the same thing on this side. And we'll have the beautiful butterfly there also. All right. Okay, I'm going to skip a page for now. And let's see what we have going on here. I would like to add a couple of triangle type pockets that we can use like a tuck. Let me grab some paper here from the kit. Okay, and see which one we want to use here. And we kind of want to make sure that it will go with both pages here. Okay. Let's see if we have anything in our journaling pages that we like. This is kind of the same neutral, just a little lighter. We might use that. Just looking through my pages here to see what I have. Yeah, I think I want to use this one. And what I'm going to do is just simply cut it out. Okay. And then we're going to create 2 triangles. And hopefully we can get them in the right position so that we can add a large journaling card or paper later on. So I'm going to grab my scoreboard here, and I'm going to try to put this on the diagonal and see what that does. Oops, my cutter doesn't like that. Let's do this because we got to point it in. Let me grab the other trimmer. There we go. Let's see if this one will work better. Okay, let's see. That might be too sharp of an angle for what I'm wanting to do. I'm wanting them to overlap. So let me say it here. This one's going to have to be a little, we're going to have to cut this one down. But I want them to overlap, and we'll cut this one down to equal this one so that we can easily tuck in a large journaling card or tag. So I'm going to go ahead just with my scissors because it's faster and quicker. And I'm going to cut this other piece to match this one. There we go. There we go. And then we'll put them on here and decide if we want to cut down the corners a little bit or if we like them that long. So I'm thinking about one piece there and one here. Now you certainly could cut these shorter, but I actually like them like that. And then I want to add some lace to them. So we'll go ahead and glue these down. Might need a little more glue on that tip. There we go. Okay. I'm just going to bring that as close to the edge as I can. There we go. All right, and let's see, so we need to put glue on this edge. And down along this edge. All right, I think I got a little glue over here earlier. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to line this up. I'm going to pull the book down just a moment so I can line up the top. There we go. And then we'll line it close to our edge, but not all the way in the crease. Okay, and then I will come back, and when we embellish, we will take some lace trim and add along there. And I may even look for some different colored trim so that we can give it a pop of color. Maybe something that matches with the front cover. So there is our large tuck that we can use. All right. We need a belly band. So I have this beautiful strip of paper left from the cover. I also have these beautiful butterflies. We might line it up on top. And this is actually a washi tape strip. So we may use that on the edge of a page. There was a whole page of washi strips, and I copied them on clear sticker paper. So we'll find another page and add that to that. This, I want to make a belly band. You can make it thicker, thinner, however you like. And somehow I have misplaced all of my rulers. I need to go on the hunt for them. I could use my mat here to measure, but sometimes you can just eyeball them. All right, and we're just going to put some tape on each, glue on each end. Try to center this on the page. You don't have to center it, but okay. And then we'll press these down and let that glue dry. So there's one type of belly band that you can do. And belly bands don't have to be plain. You can add a focal point, which we may do. Let's see. Let me grab out one of the pieces of ephemera that we could use. So there are lots of little die cuts in the kit. So we could certainly add one of them to the center of that. We've got some florals we could add, and we could even create a cluster of several pieces and add that to the front of it. You just have to be careful that you don't glue down your belly band so that you can still slide pieces under it. Okay? But we're just going to make a simple belly band there, and we'll come back and add some embellishments to that. Let's see what we can do. Let's go to the next page here. So this actually may be a nice page to add the butterfly focal point to. And we just have to decide which direction we want it to go. So the butterflies are going both directions, so I don't think it'll really matter. I'm going to trim off the ends. Now the ends were made so they look like they were torn. So you can either do a little jagged cut if you want, or you can just cut them straight across. But I think that we're still going to have to cut more off of this one end. So I think I'll put it down and then I will trim it off. So you can also, for page edgers, you can use, offcuts of your papers, just like that. You can use ribbon, lace, and material. You can use stickers. Something we may do on another page is an edge trimmer, border punch. Use a border punch. Okay. That stuck down on me before I got it straight. That's one thing about using sticker paper is you do have to be careful, and I'm not going to be able to correct that because if I do, it's going to pull the paper up. So we're just going to go with it. There we go. So you could pull a partial amount of your sticker off and not the other part, and that would help prevent that. I got ahead of myself there. So I'm going to go ahead and stick this little bit of butterfly back on that paper just in case we want to use it somewhere. So that is one way to add to a page. Let's see. So we've got another page like that. Okay, we've got this beautiful page here. I'd like to do some stacked pockets. Sorry. Let's see. Trying to decide which pockets I want to use for the stacked pockets. Okay, so I've got some pockets cut like this that we could certainly stagger back and forth. So these have some different designs on them. The other ones I was thinking about using are on here, and I think I will go with these, is these small ones here. And they have even smaller ones there. There are some very tiny tags in this kit. It has all different sizes of tags, but there's some tiny tags that those little pockets would work perfectly for. Alright, so I have one there, and let's cut this one out. I need to see if I can find one more the same size as these, or I could even create one. Which we may do out of this piece right here. I'll just trim it out and then we'll cut it to size. I do believe it's already the same width, so that will make it easier. Okay, set this over here. And let me measure this. And then I'm just going to cut that off right there. And it will be the same height that way as the other ones. All right. We can round the corners. I like rounded corners. If you're not familiar with Pink Monarch prints, they are an online and Etsy shop, and they do junk journaling kits. They have a monthly subscription plan that you can subscribe to. They have two tiers. They have an $8.99 tier and a $14.99 tier. And the first tier is called the premium tier. And the second tier is the gold. Both tiers you get the kit. The kit is usually around 50 pages. It can be anywhere from 45 to, we've had one kit that was 60. I think it was this kit right here. It was 60 pages. And I'm going to try to line that up with that one. And there's generally a little mini kit or something that you can make, even in the besides a journal, in the $8.99 kit. But with the $14.90 kit, you get the gold kit also that they make. So it's a totally extra project that you can do. There's also usually freebies that they make for the subscribers, and the gold kit gets, if it's a 2 or 3 page, they get the extra page. If, depending upon how many pages the freebie is. And they were getting discounts. I'm not sure if they still are, just because Etsy is changing their rules on things, but they did get a $5 coupon to use in the Etsy shop. If you don't want to be part of the subscription club, or the monthly subscription plan, you can go to their Etsy shop, Pink Monarch Prints, and you can purchase the kit there. It is much higher. They do have sales usually once or twice a month that you can get it at a lower price. But your best value is to buy it on the monthly subscription kit. You know, you're not obligated to sign up for a year or anything. It's a month to month. You know, once you sign up, it will continuously come to you unless you decide to end, you know, the monthly subscription. But otherwise, it will keep coming to you. But there's no obligation to sign up for a long period of time. So I'm just trying to decide how I want to stagger my pockets here. I need that one to come down a little bit. So I don't think I do that. I think I'll go back and do the stacked one here. I do want to kind of ink those slightly just to help the edges of the top stand out a little bit. And then we'll be able, in these pockets, we'll be able to add tags and ephemera pieces loaded up with some goodies. Okay, I need to get a new, you can see my sponge is flaking off there. I need to get a new sponge and put on there. I've been using that one for quite a while. All right, so let's just decide. I think I want the bird at the bottom. And then I think we'll do it just like that. So I'm going to start with this one. And I'm not going to glue the bottom. That way, if you have a longer tag, you'll be able to use it and it'll go all the way to the bottom. So if you don't want the tags or little pieces to be able to go through, then feel free to glue your bottom. Okay? So I'm going to put that one there. I'm going to do the same thing with this one. Just do the sides. And then I'm going to line that up. Try to keep that straight as I can. There we go. All right. I think I got a little more to one side than the other. All right, on this one, I am going to glue the bottom. Sorry about that. My table is for some reason wanting to tip. Gonna have to figure out what's causing it to do that. Okay. And this one is a little smaller, so I got that pocket a little bit bigger, but that's okay. All right. Now what we can do when we come back to embellish is we can add some stamps. We can add some other different types of little pieces. Let me see, like if there's some words in here, you know, if we want to create a little cluster at the top or the bottom with some of the pieces, we can certainly do that. We've got a card that says journal, so we'll have plenty of things to use to embellish all these pages with. Okay, so we've done a layered pocket. Let's look back. We've done an border edge with a sticker. We've done a thin belly band there. We've done these diagonal pockets that we're going to add, and we've done a flip. And it's a double flip because we can flip it on either side. So I got that one a little high. I'll have to work with that. Okay. Let's maybe come up with a tuck on one of these. And let's do something different, maybe like the bird here. And we'll just make a side tuck here. That we can just add. To our thing, and then we can just simply tuck in some ephemera or journaling cards, whatever we want to add to it, tags. So I'm going to go ahead and just glue that one down. And I'll leave that side open so we can make it easier to slide things in. There we go. So the nice thing about the Pink Monarch Prince kits is they do basically have everything you need in them. They have everything to create a journal. I'm looking to see if maybe one of our other ones here, we can create a top tuck on this side. And I think I'll use that one right there and do that. So you can have there's no rule that says what size your tuck has to be or where you place it on the page. You can go at the top, the bottom, the middle, wherever you want to use it at. So I'm going to add one over here. And then again, we'll be able to slide some paper up into that. Okay. All right, I want to make a border with using a punch. And I think what I'm going to use is the mushroom punch that I have. And now I haven't used this punch, I just got it. So I haven't used it too much, so hopefully I'll have it lined up correctly. But we might have to wiggle with it a little bit. But this is kind of a little bit of a woodsy, botanical, woodland type kit. So I think mushrooms go right along with it. So we're going to create a mushroom border here. All right, and I'm going to line up my mushrooms. Make sure my paper is even there. I might have to turn it around here. I was trying to do it so you guys could see it easier, but I may have to turn it this way so I can see what I'm lining up here. All right. I love mushrooms. The botanical theme is one of my favorites, so anything that is outdoorsy and nature, I love. I think I might have forgot to empty the bottom on this. Let me do that real quick. I might have too much in there. Has a little catcher here at the bottom of this, so let's see, need scissors to get that out of there. Then it'll punch a little easier. There we go. All right. Let's see what happens if I line this up here. And oh, look what I did. I wasn't thinking. That kind of looks kind of cute though. I wasn't thinking that I had just done the birds on that side, but it's actually kind of cute. That's all right. Okay, so let me line this up again. And do that last edge. And then I'll line this up. Let's see. This one's a little harder to see. There we go. All right. So don't be afraid to use border punches. They're fun. And they definitely do add a little bit to your journal. Kind of cute on this side too. I like that. It stands out. All right. So we did the little decorative there. Now I would like to maybe take one of our envelopes and create a center belly band out of it. So let me find one of those. Here we go. That one might be too small. Let me get one that's a little larger. let's use this one here. I'll try to cut it out quickly. And we will use this as not only an envelope, but a center belly band in our page. Another great thing about the kits is that Pink Monarch Print tries to use all the spaces on their page so you can see all the labels that they added along with this envelope. And honestly, I could probably just cut out that there and use it. I wouldn't have to completely cut the envelope out because I really want that to be on the front. So we'll look here. We'll fold it and see how it's going to look and how we want to use it. But we're going to make a center belly band from it. And that way you can add a tag of pieces of ephemera, whatever you want. I did copy a neutral background on the back of that. You can use your scoreboard if you want to score the lines. I may go ahead and do that. Or you can, simply just line it up and fold them down by eyeballing it. So we can fold this in and create a beautiful envelope that you can place on this side, and then you can open it and have some ephemera on the inside if you want, popping out, or we can do this side and we can stamp on here. Not sure which side I like better. I really love this design here. So I think we may go ahead and use it. I'm just going to add a little glue here and go ahead and glue the pocket. I'm sorry, not the pocket, the envelope. I'm trying to make sure I'm getting enough glue on here. Okay. All right, and then we'll find a little piece to make a closure on that. But when you glue it down in your journal, you only want to glue the sides. This way you will have a pass-through for your tags or ephemera, whatever you want to place on this page. So I'm going to go ahead and center that. You can come back later and add a little cluster or some stamping. Let me grab a tag here. I think I have some pre-cut tags so I can kind of show you. This one's a little small. Here's a little bit bigger one. So you will be able to slide something down through there. A larger tag most likely would be the best thing. And then in here, you can add some extra ephemera pieces that you want to just use. So that's supposed to be a blank envelope there, and you can fill that up with goodies for whomever you're going to give your journal to. So we'll just leave that there. We'll start filling that up. And let's see if we can come up with a tuck idea for right here. That'll drive me a little, that one will drive me a little bonkers leaving it. So let me see if I can find something small. A small little tag or piece that we can use to help keep that closed. How about the butterfly? We've got the butterfly, or let's see what else we have. We'll keep that one out. We also have tags like this. So that might work. Let's give that a try. That's neat looking. Something else I want to show you that's in the kit, and we will use these when we're embellishing it, but look at the wonderful alphas. And we can use them as clusters or words on the journal. You get plenty, you get several of each letter. So that's going to be a lot of fun to get to do. Okay, let me set this over here. And oh, I took away my piece I was going to use. Oh, nope, there it is. Okay. All right, so let me take, I've got an idea. I wonder if this would work. Let me think about this. You would have to put it under here. Yeah, I don't think that'll work with the way I was thinking. So let me see if I can find my single hole punch here. There it is. And I'm going to go ahead and punch the hole in this little number tag. There we go. Maybe ink this up just a tad. All right. And then we're going to put this on here just enough that you can pull this and then bend your envelope and put it back under. So we're going to glue it with our wet glue. And we're going to put quite a bit of glue on there to really help it stick and give it strength. Okay. And then I need to make sure all of that is down there. We'll let that dry for a few minutes and then we'll come back and tuck our envelope under. Hopefully I left enough room for that. May have to move that down just a tad. There we go. Okay, all right. We'll let that dry and we'll come back. All right, let's see. So we've done some pockets. We've done 2 types of belly bands. We've done some border edges. We've done a couple tucks. One tuck that we haven't done is a side tuck. So maybe we can take some of our paper here and we can make a side tuck. It's so hard not to be drawn to this paper for everything because it's just so pretty. But I do think that would be perfect for a side tuck on this page. So what we're going to do is I'm going to just fold this up so I kind of know where to crease it at. All right, and look at this beautiful page right there. All right, and let me go ahead and grab my trimmer. And we will trim this off. All right. Make sure we got that about the right length. I think it's just a little bit long still. Let me trim it just a little bit more. That'll work. Okay. And then we need to decide how much of the page we want it to take up. I'm going to bend it about there. You know, of course, we'll see what the measurement is here, where I have that bend is about 2.5 inches. Okay, so we're going to make it at 2.5. All right. And we're going to move some of all this out of the way. We're going to glue this down, but first I want to make a little punch in it so it'll be easier to slide the ephemera in and out of. So I'm just using a round circle punch. There we go. Okay. And then we're going to take our glue down the top and bottom and the back edge. And there you have a side tuck. So if you have some taller tags or some, you know, larger pieces, you can definitely tuck those in there and it will hold it. All right, and then I think I'm going to show you one more type of side tuck, and then I will let you go for today. And when we come back, we will work on making some embellishments to go in. And I probably will have to create some myself so that, you know, we'll have enough to fill the journal, but we'll do an example of 3 or 4 of them. And I'm going to go ahead and flip a few pages back. And we're going to do kind of the same thing we just did, but just a little bit different. So since we've already got this paper cut the right size, I'm going to use it again. And I'm going to cut it, what did we say, at 2.5? Actually, that'll be too big. So let's go 1.5. Because we're going to add 3 of these. So, and what I'm thinking about doing is using this same piece of paper so that we can kind of make it look like it's all one, but it's going to be separate, excuse me, separate pockets. So I'm going to do another one at 1.5. Okay. And these will be staggered ever so slightly. And then I'm going to do this one at 2. Just make it a little deeper. Okay. Okay. You could do them 3 different papers. Now what I'm going to do with the holes is I'm going to cut them in 3 different places. Okay. And let me think about which way this is going to go on the paper. So I think I'll do it on this side. I'm going to make it so that you put things in this direction. So we will turn these around, and each one will have to be slightly under the other one. Okay. And then we just need to decide. So I'm going to stagger our holes. So we're going to have one there. And then we'll have one towards the middle here. Okay. And then we're going to have one towards the end here. Okay, there we go. Now, we can do these. We can do them staggered where you can see the opening, or we can do them slightly on top of each other so that you can run deeper pieces of ephemera through there. So we just need to decide which way we want to do it. And I think for something different, I want to do it that way. Normally I would layer them on top of each other, but I really like that, and I think it stands out more that way. So I'm just going to add a little ink on the light sides. Okay, so we'll start with this one. We're not going to glue down the top, just the sides and the back. Okay. Now, if you, like I said, if you want it where your tag can slide, you can use larger tags or pieces of ephemera that can slide all the way to the end. You can tuck that under there. But I'm going to go ahead, and since we have all those mini tags in this kit, I'm going to make these shallower pockets, and then that way you can put all those little tags in here. Trying to line my pockets up so at least they will be even on the top and the bottom. And then I'll do this one the same way. And we'll put all those little mini tags or extra little pieces of ephemera that you, if you're making this journal for someone, you could give them to them so they could continue to decorate the journal. Oh, I forgot to ink those. But I'll show you a trick. If you want to go back and ink something, just slide an extra piece of paper in here. And then you can ever so gently try to ink those up. Okay. That one may not show as much since it's a darker there. All right, so that's all we're going to do for this evening, so I don't keep you too long. I will add a few more things and we can do a flip through next time. But I will be back later this week. I'm going to show you guys a collection of older ephemera that I have, vintage ephemera. I was rearranging my craft area. I've been working on it for a long time, still working on it. And I went through all that, and I just thought it would be neat to show you guys some of the pieces I've collected. So I'll be back with a video for that. And then hopefully by Sunday or next Monday, we can work on part 3 and finish up this journal. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope you have a wonderful evening, and I will see you next time. Thank you. Bye.